Welcome to episode 231 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walton. As always, I'm joined by Dan Reamer.
Yeah, or I think we should just be calling me Winner Chicken Dinner.
This is a very special episode because we're also joined by Gerald, also known as scorekeeper for E3 2017.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. So if you listened to last week's, you know that Dan and I threw down the gauntlet and made predictions. And we gave Gerald full reign to do whatever he wanted to do with the competition. And to this point, we still don't know the results.
Or what his judging criteria was. For all we know, it could be who clips their toenails more is the guy who wins.
I'm going to lose that then.
I know. That's why I said that.
So we're going to chat for a little bit, then we'll jump straight into that. We don't have Gerald on a lot, so I think if you want to talk about the things you're playing, that might be a good place to start so people can get to know you a little better.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I normally play the same crap every day.
That's true.
Jump on.
Very true statement.
Gerald loves the free-to-play, too. We should say that at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I do. Star Trek Online I play like every day. Guns Up. Let It Die. I'm pretty much on there every day. I probably play about 20, 30 minutes of each game just to get a couple rounds in. Clicker. Heroes I've been playing. I also do Grand Theft Auto 5, playing on that, trying to build my money up. Especially save up for all the extra stuff that is released.
The gun runner stuff.
Yeah. Well, that and even the stuff before that. I also even have all the high stuff that I want to get.
Oh.
You'll never meet anyone who gets their money's worth out of a game more than Gerald.
No, he has turned GTA into a that's the best money you've ever spent in your existence, Gerald, is GTA.
Yeah, and I haven't bought any of the downloads or any shark cards. I just play it.
I know.
But you do that with every game.
Right.
You play every game. You play a game so much that if I was you and I played it that much, I would then hate that game I played it so much.
Well, see, my philosophy is like it's $1 an hour. So if I spend $40 on a game, I want to get at least 40 hours of the game.
I feel like that's not true because at this point you're at like 3 cents an hour.
Right.
I want some games, yeah, but the other games that I have, I want to make sure I at least get that if I buy it.
And all the free-to-play stuff, they should be paying you the way you play those.
That is true.
Yeah, and see, what I like to think is with the free-to-play offsets some of the ones that you could buy. So you could take a loss on some of those since you're playing the free-to-play.
Right.
I probably can, but that's why probably my little gaming thing is so low. Like I don't have that many games.
That's because you play and play the ones you do have.
And play. Yeah, I would want to, if I played like you did, Gerald, I'd want to smash that game and the fucking case over my knee and throw it at people because it deserved it.
Well, you'd be surprised. I've got 13 PlayStation 4 games I'm looking at right now, and there's 4 of them that are not even opened up yet, so I haven't even touched that I've purchased.
It's because you still keep playing the same ones.
Yeah.
I think I've told the story before, but it's how I feel about brown sugar and cinnamon Pop-Tarts. I had them so much that now the sight of them makes me angry.
Right.
And I like them. Like I didn't dislike them ever, but I had them so much. It's all my mom would ever buy me. And so if I see somebody on the street eating one, I want to punch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a rage inside of me. Just those Pop-Tarts just sets me off. Like, I can hold it together. I don't walk up to a stranger and, open-handed them, slap them or anything, but I'm upset at the sight of them. And if anyone's eating them, I want to be like, fuck you.
That's how I am with Life cereal.
Yeah, it lights a fire inside you.
Because when I was growing up, that was the only cereal that you could get that had sugar in it that was available through, like, WIC or Welfare, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So... because we didn't like Kix or whatever them other shitty fucking
Did their mother approved? Kid approved,
had.
mom happy. What I forget what the
mom
thing
tested
is.
Or something.
Yeah, mom tested, kid approved.
Fuck that. They're not kid approved. So it was the only one that had any kind of sugary taste to it. So that's what my mom would get. So that was what I had for breakfast every morning was Life cereal, and now I want to just if I see a box I want to throw them all over the floor so the janitors have to come clean it up because I don't want to put that on anyone else.
That's exactly how Pop-Tarts are. That's what I had every morning. I mean, you know, sometimes she would cook breakfast, but if she didn't cook, it was brown sugar and cinnamon Pop-Tart. And I wouldn't even dare to guess how many hundreds of brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts I've had. But now the mere sight of them. Like sometimes I see them, the vending machine at work has them in there. I just want to punch the glass, take them out and throw them away. And they're a fine product.
Yeah.
Like it's not a knock against the product.
No,
I know they're good.
No, Life is a good cereal.
Yeah.
But I want to smash every box that I see.
Do you think it's the cinnamon? Because that also has cinnamon. Maybe
it's the cinnamon.
Life has cinnamon, right?
I think very minor hints.
Maybe I'm confusing it with Cinnamon Toast Crunch now.
That's good.
I don't.
But
love
they don't even taste
Toast.
the same no more.
It gets soggy really quick, so I have to be careful. I don't like soggy cereal. So,
but yeah, Life cereal, man.
Life cereal. So
No.
you're just playing a bunch of free-to-play stuff in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto and Minecraft.
I got to get back into Minecraft.
I do not.
I got to get.
I've been playing the tutorial. Like they have a new tutorial world, so I've been using that one and building up on that one and running around because you can. It already has the end portal pull up, and it's got a lot of extra stuff already there, so you can run around and see all that stuff.
And don't take the fact that he's playing a tutorial world that he hasn't played a lot of Minecraft because he's got hundreds of hours in that too.
Jesus Christ, does he ever?
Yeah. So, Dan, you haven't played that much this week, I don't think.
I haven't. We played Rocket League a few nights.
Yeah.
I actually, believe it or not, I only played any Andromeda on Sunday night. I played some multiplayer, but I started to get back into Horizon Zero Dawn. Real easy to get back into. Real nice.
Now, every time I get on, that's what you're back in.
Yeah.
I've got to get back into that. I've been
do.
stuck playing. Not stuck. I've been playing Rocket League. I'm still playing NHL a little bit. It's like a fun time suck when you just want to do something different than Rocket League. I'm still doing a little bit of Disney Afternoon Collection, Farming Simulator for PS3 and Vita now. I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm still playing Zelda. And then I got back in and I played a really big chunk of Farpoint. And I hadn't played it since the first time that I jumped in, or the second time or whatever it was. So I spent about an hour and a half with it. And I was wondering, after taking time off, if I would still love it as much. I do. I can't seem to keep myself centered on the TV. I keep spinning in a circle. And I'm not sure how to fix that yet. I bought it like a cheap kitchen mat thinking that would keep me on center.
Nope.
It turns out I have no idea I'm just still standing on something else and I can't tell which direction it's facing. So I'm going to have to put like a piece of tape on the front of the mat so I can feel it and know that it's the front. Because I thought I was good, and then when I took the headset off, what I thought was the front was the back. I knew it was the long edge, but I still can't tell which is which once I get turned around. And something about the way you play that game makes you move, and you're not supposed to. So I had about a minute of uneasiness when I started again, just moving while standing still. Once I got past that uneasiness, it was a good experience. It was hot as hell when I played, so it was like I was actually on that planet.
You were actually on Mars.
I was sweating, fogging up a little bit inside the headset, so it made it more realistic. But I do worry about sweating onto the headset.
Well,
like
yeah.
The top pad is like it's some sort of material, but they've got like a rubber coating thing on it.
So it's going to soak in and smell?
No, it doesn't seem to soak in. It wipes right off. But the concern is that it soaks in.
Yeah, and smells later on.
As soon as I took it off, I wiped it off, and it's dry to the touch after that. And when you press down, you don't feel like there's any moisture in it.
But you don't know. You
Right.
don't know.
Right, that's the part that scares me, because I like to sweat. It's a hobby. And every time I play, I'm pretty much going to sweat because my face gets hot.
I don't know if you like it so much as you just can't stop it from happening.
I don't mind it.
I mean, is it a thing you enjoy? Like, is it really a hobby? A hobby is something you do in your spare time. I don't know.
That's it.
I think sweating just happens.
No, I do it in my spare time.
I don't.
Now, I have a question with the VR thing now. Just think about, because you said sweat. Is it the machine as hot as causing you to sweat?
So I don't think so. I'm a hot person. I do think that because I'm a mouth breather, I think that the air comes up through there more so than if I would breathe out. It's got a nose guard, and I know my mouth is down some, but I think just I'm letting up so much hot air, and I do think the lenses, with the light in the lenses, I do think it does produce some heat. But it's mostly my forehead that sweats, and I think that's just because I have a thick pad sitting on my forehead.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it sweats and it doesn't escape out, so it condensates on the lens.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, you had the first version of the Samsung VR. Did that sweat?
Yes.
Did you sweat in that one?
A little bit, yeah.
See, I have the newer version. I'm not sweating at all.
But do you sweat? Like, I'm naturally just a sweater.
Oh yeah, I'm sweating right now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sweating yet. And once this competition heats up, we might.
Oh, no, I sweat all the time.
I'm weird too. Like, I sweat on my forehead really hard, and then like down the middle of my back really hard. That's it. Like, I don't sweat hard under the arms. But I like pour sweat from my back and my forehead.
See, when I get
sweaty,
that rug
you got back there.
I sweat everywhere. Arms,
See, I don't do it like
chest, back, legs, everything.
Your legs sweat?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know that my legs have ever sweat.
Yeah, not mine.
I don't sweat like that. But my forehead's like a faucet. I don't know what happens up there.
Yeah, but see, I don't pour like that either. I just like sweat
glisten.
Seeps out of
Right.
I look like a Levi's commercial.
Like, if I'm bent over doing something outside, like working a lawnmower or something, you can just watch it drip off my forehead.
Oh yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it is
wild. Yeah, it's definitely wild.
Yeah, it's something else.
That's the word I would have used. Wild.
And in the back, your back has a channel that naturally works.
Yes,
like a gutter system,
right between on either side of the spine.
Yeah, and it runs down to your ass crack.
Yes, it's always
good. The rug back there doesn't help it either.
Right, I'm a hairy guy, so it bonds up in the hair.
Yeah,
it's not pretty when I'm outside for a long time.
I believe it.
Oh no, I shave my hair.
No, I like to let mine just grow.
On my back, I have to shave that.
No, I let it. I'm natural with that.
I don't have it growing on my back, so.
Lucky.
I have hair growing pretty much everywhere.
I know you do. It's gross.
Also a hobby.
I don't know. Again.
I don't know, he likes farming.
Again, I don't think you understand the definition.
Hobbies are sweating, growing hair, playing video games. That's where my hobbies reside.
Not necessarily in that order.
Right. But yeah, I would dare to say that if either one of you played VR, that you would still, like PSVR, I think you would sweat. I think the way that it's designed causes you to sweat because your whole forehead is covered with that pad.
Yeah,
It is super comfortable though. Like, I never feel weighted. It never bothers me, even playing. So Farpoint only saves on the chapter ends. And the chapters are about an hour for each chapter so far. And during that time, the headset never feels heavy. It never feels weighted. It doesn't bother me. But I can very much tell that I'm sweating while I'm playing. Like, you just feel it. And then you pull it off, and then you see all the sweat, and you immediately panic. But it wipes clean like a table would. So I don't know. You know, they obviously do have a coating. You can see the coating that's on it that makes it like a rubbery. But I just wonder if after a while that will start to get funky.
Are you able to play it longer than you normally do? Are you getting used to playing it longer? Because you said before I think it was like 45 minutes and you have to stop.
I don't. So I used to. I still think it's more taxing than just playing a regular game. Even though you don't feel weighted, there is something on your head. The idea that you're in it, like, I almost feel like you're getting out of something when you take your headset off. Not like a relief, but it's just different. Like, when you take it out, you're like, all right, I'm done with that.
Gotcha.
Different than when you stop playing a game. You know, you just feel like you can run in the kitchen and get, like, when you take the headset off, you feel like you're leaving that world. And I don't mean like that planet, just like VR in general. Like,
you're like, I'm done here.
Right. And so I still feel that. Like, after playing, I think I played for an hour and a half on Farpoint. Like, when I got out, I was ready to get out. I had a great experience, but, like, I didn't want to keep playing it anymore that day.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll ever be something that you can jump in or that I can jump in and play for 4 hours straight.
It's almost a relief when that time comes.
Almost. Like, I hate to say it that way because I don't want it to seem like I don't enjoy it, but it's nice to come out of the headset after being in it for a while.
Yeah, I get that.
Not that I don't enjoy the experience. Like, I'm totally happy when I'm in it, but when you come out, you're kind of like, all right.
Well, it's just like you go on, you know, it happens to me and my wife all the time. We go on vacation. We love being on vacation. We're ready to get back home by the end of vacation.
Yeah, that feeling when you get back in your house is kind of that feeling when you take the headset off.
Yeah.
You're like, this feels right again.
I thought that might be the best.
Yeah, as much as you love vacation,
to be used to it.
Right, as much as you love vacation, there's something
right.
good about coming out of it.
And yeah, vacation was great. And yeah, I'd love to move to St. Thomas. But
right.
I don't live in St. Thomas, and I'm glad to be home.
Yeah. It's kind of like that when you take it off. You're like, that was awesome. I'm going to do it again. Right now, I need to get the fuck out of here, though.
Right.
Like, I'm ready to not be in this. And then, even a couple hours later, I'm ready to do it again. But there is like when I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, I've been going for a while now. Like, there is that thought of, like, I've been in here for a while. I need to get out, let my face breathe. I need to feel like actual, like, sunlight again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to, sometimes I think someone might be murdering me behind me. You can turn on the camera where you can see what the camera sees.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that when I flip that over, I always expect someone to be standing behind me, dressed like a ninja with a knife. And I've decided that if this happens, I'm just going to turn the camera back off and keep playing. Because I don't want to see myself be killed.
Right.
So I'm just going to jump back in the game and go. I'm not going to be alarmed. I'm not going to panic.
I don't
Whatever
know.
happens.
I mean, a fucking ninja?
Yeah.
I would want to watch that. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, me too.
I want
I
to
don't
see
think you
it.
want to watch yourself be killed. I think
By a
that's
ninja?
weird.
Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't even know they existed anymore. Of course I want to
He's just going to
watch
stab
that.
you in the back of the neck. Like, it's not going to be a production.
That's not how ninjas work. I don't think you understand how ninjas work.
In and out. They're not. It's not a John Woo movie.
No, not. Have you
In and out.
you've never seen any of the American Ninja movies or like
God.
Ninja 3 Domination?
He's just going to create. Yeah, but you're totally distracted. He doesn't need to do any of that. He just walk up behind you, slit your throat, done.
But they don't have to do any of the things they do in those movies, but they do them because they're ninjas.
You've
they don't
never
need
been
smoke
murdered in
bombs. They
VR.
don't need Chinese throwing stars.
First off, everyone needs smoke bombs. That is the coolest way to disappear. Because it's a little bit production value, which I like.
Throwing stars, katanas, sai,
I like throwing stars, too.
karate. It's all
I would
great.
like to see... I don't want to see anyone get killed. I'd like to see someone attempt to kill someone with actual throwing stars. I think it's harder than it's portrayed in the movies.
I would imagine so.
Like, because they're not that big, so
They
most
have,
of them...
they have to be thrown with incredible force to break the bone. Because let's face it, when it's a throwing star, it's always in the forehead. They always get them in the forehead. That's how they die.
I always feel like they could just pull that out and be like, "You son of a bitch!"
I feel
that
like
hurt.
that. Yeah, I feel like that. It's pretty. That's a pretty thick bone right there. You need some force behind that throwing star to pop through and bust a brain to the point where it kills somebody.
Yeah, brain surgeons have to use like Dremels,
Yeah, they have to use Dremel tools and fucking
hammers and
saws
shit. Yeah.
and shit. Pole
Yeah,
saws.
sawzalls out there, right?
So I don't,
So
I
I
don't feel
don't-
like that throwing star is going to cut it.
Or I see like it hits someone in the chest and they fall down, and I'm like, I think you could just pull that out.
It depends on where it hits, probably.
I think you could just pull that out.
It depends
I don't
on
think it kills you.
and the depth, and it would depend on how deep it goes. Like if it actually
don't-
punctures your heart, yeah, you're probably
because
dead.
some of them stars got longer blades, some got small blades.
Right.
Yeah, but they're not throwing like a chop saw blade. Like it's still pretty small, even the big ones. Because
Yeah,
it's
but
too big. Where do you carry them?
But you gotta consider, the heart's only like an inch below your chest.
It depends on the
So-
body type.
Well, that's true. On a normal person,
Okay, fair enough.
on a normal person that one would not consider dangerously obese.
Or muscled up.
Yeah, somebody could just be shredded.
Some
then.
buff bros.
Or shredded.
Yeah,
You
they
didn't
could
let me
just-
finish.
No, you just assumed that they had to be fat. They couldn't just be shredded.
I did. You're right. Bad on me. But actually, those people would be at a disadvantage because I think muscles would actually be easier to tear through than fat.
If
So
you're real
actually,
shredded
if
and they
you're
throw it at
grossly
you,
obese or morbidly obese, you have the best chance of surviving a ninja attack, probably.
if you're a real like meathead though, you could probably just flex and they'd bounce off you.
No, I don't think that's how that. I don't think you understand.
I'm talking about super meathead,
It's not fucking Colossus. What the fuck?
super
I agree.
meathead. Go into the tanning bed, thick skin, just flexes and that thing pops off. And the ninja's like, oh shit,
No.
my throwing stars are not going to be useful in this one. Better use my smoke bomb.
What if your ninja's ripped? Look at Bolo. Bolo Yung.
Oh, Bully,
You don't
oh,
want
yeah.
you don't
He was
want ripped
jacked.
ninjas though.
Why?
I like my ninjas to be like skinny and scrawny, silent.
Better for that stealth.
Yeah, I also accept a dad bod for a ninja.
You know how I like my ninjas? Mini.
Oh yeah, that's a great game.
Yeah.
Mini Ninjas is great. I'd love to see that come back. Not a remaster, but a new Mini Ninjas.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That was such a cool game.
Yeah, it was a fun idea.
Fun idea, fun game. Remember sledding on your hat?
Oh, do I ever? Do I ever? That whole game was fun. It's adorable. But it was still like that adorableness was wrapped around a good game and some decent mechanics.
I beat it.
Yeah, I think I did too.
I didn't even
I'm not
play
sure.
it.
I'd have to go back and look at my trophies. I'm not sure. I think I did.
I'm pretty sure I beat it.
They don't have that many ninja games coming out like they used to, like Ninja Gaiden and all that stuff back in the day.
Yeah, we've switched to zombies now.
Zombies are the new ninjas.
Yeah. Don't worry though. It'll cycle back around.
Oh, I can't wait for the zombie ninjas.
Ooh. What a new idea.
No, copyrighted.
Zombie
It's not.
ninjas.
It's not. Zombies are and ninjas are, not zombie ninjas.
What about Zombie Ninja Knights?
Ooh, good one. What about mini
Yeah.
zombie ninjas?
Mini Zombie Ninja Zimbi. I can't even say it anymore. It got so complicated.
Getting tongue-tied.
Right. It got crazy. If this is your first time joining us, this is the official Gamestitch Podcast where this group of best friends gets together. We talk about all the nerdy news and games news that's going on out in the world. We wrap it up in this dumpster fire that is this podcast. It posts every Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on podcast services around the world. That's pretty much everywhere, in case you're wondering. If you want to support this podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/GameStitch. You can toss us a couple of bones, maybe a couple of quarters. If you can't afford it, that's cool too. This podcast will always be free. But we do have some rewards and some goals over there that you can help us unlock. And for everyone who is doing so, thank you for that. Remember, just $1 gets you into our Discord chat.
Grassy ass.
Yeah, grassy ass, you say. So we're going to jump into the results, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Now, remember, we still don't even understand what Gerald has done here.
No, and we going into this now, we need everyone to know we do not know who won. We do not know how this competition was judged by the spectacular, wonderful, best judge in the world.
He's already made his mind
Hoffman
up.
Show.
Yeah, I've already scored it. It's already done, so no more kissing ass right now.
All right.
Okay, cool. I take that all back.
Okay.
So we tweeted out you tweeted out a teaser earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
So walk us through your process of how you judge this thing.
Okay, so I was originally when you guys were talking about it, I was listening and I thought of a certain idea of how I was going to judge it. But then as you guys went on, I had to change the idea because originally I was going to do like a basketball shot where you guys were like, I got 3 picks, and then the sky and the pie would have been 2, so that'd been like 5 points for each one.
Mm-hmm.
So like just like basketball, you get the 3 shots, and then your bonus ball, the money ball, you would get 2 points for that one if you got the pie in the sky. But then
shot.
you guys started rattling on all these other picks, like, oh, well, what about this one? But don't count that one. What about this? And don't count that. So I was like, wait a minute, okay, I want to do something with that. And then when Dan was talking about, like, okay, well, what if you get this wrong? What if you get that wrong? I was like, wait a minute, okay, I don't need it. I want to add in the negative aspect if you get things wrong. So I went through E3 the whole, like, every day, just figuring out, okay, I'm going to score like this, I'm going to score like this, until after E3 on Wednesdays when I finally figured out how I was going to score everything. And then I came up with the idea of what the score is, and then made my little scorecard sheet, and there we go. I got the winner.
So you've broken it up. You've broken it up into rounds, right?
Yeah, I broke it down to rounds. Tried to do like an MMA boxing type thing, so each round would be considered a winner, and then you can win 2 rounds, you can win 3 rounds. Doesn't matter if you get 5 right in one round or 3 wrong in another. Basically, whoever wins the overall points.
Now,
You're trying to win the.
Did you give points? Did you do grading on a curve based on being partially right, or is wrong and right is right?
A partial. I add a partial in there. If you got a little bit right on the pick, then I gave you like a full point. But then the overall, like who win the round, is depend on how much of it you got right.
Okay.
If it was dead on even, because there was a couple that you guys are pretty much even on, but I just felt one was better than the other. The pick.
Okay.
So how many rounds did you do?
Okay, there was 5 rounds and then a bonus round.
So 6 total.
6 total.
Okay, so let's start with whatever your round one is.
Round one was Microsoft. So I basically went
Microsoft.
through the Microsoft picks. So all your picks that you guys did through Microsoft, I scored it. Now, each one had 3, and then your Pie in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, you had a couple extra picks in there. You said not to use, so I used that for later on. So I didn't count those. So like Dan had the Crackdown with the release date. Scorpio will release with Forza 7, City of Thieves, Microsoft
Sea of
VR.
Thieves.
Yes, I'm sorry. And then Illumaroom was going to be on there. You had the game. Ryan had the Game Pass, City of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sea of Thieves. And then the Halo thing on there. So I basically broke that one down to Dan got Crackdown 3 with the release date, but he missed the actual window date, so he didn't get full on that one, but I did give him some there. Mm-hmm. They did show Forza 7, but they didn't show anything about the same as with Scorpio, so that was kind of half point there. Sea of Thieves, you both picked that one. Both y'all missed the release date on that. And then Dan's Pie in the Sky, he missed out on.
No Illumarooms, Dan.
Yep. So, Brian, you missed out on the Game Pass.
I totally whiffed on that.
Yeah, the Sea of Thieves, you missed the release date. It was going to be played. It was on stage. You missed all that, but you got the Sea of Thieves right. And then the Halo thing was the big one. Because you said Halo was not going to be showed on there, which I thought was really big, especially your Pie in the Sky. So when it came down to it, both you guys had Sea of Thieves, so that canceled each other out, even though because you both got the release date wrong. Crackdown 3 with the release date, I thought was pretty strong. And then Halo not shown, I thought was pretty strong. Now, if Dan would have got the release date right, I would have gave him this round because he didn't get that right, and Ryan got the Halo right.
I feel like victory right
round.
here. Victory.
Because I thought Halo was stronger than the Crackdown 3 with the release date. If you got the release date on point in the first quarter of 2018, like you said, I would have gave you that round. But you missed that round. His overhand right was a little bit better than your punch to the gut. So that round went to Dan. I mean, to Ryan. So,
I tell you, no Halo was fucking mind-blowing. I don't give a shit.
So it was definitely not something. I mean, I even said on the podcast, this is not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Right. So I was totally shocked by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was even watching it all the way through the end. I'm like, man, they're not going to show anything about Halo. They're not going to show anything about Halo. But damn.
And I was actually very surprised. I thought Forza being day and date with the Scorpio was a lock, and I'm totally shocked that it's not.
Yeah.
I would have been wrong about that too because that was one of my picks. You just had it before me.
Right.
But yeah, I was totally shocked by that.
Halo.
You changed it because that pick, that Forza pick you did, I used that for another one.
Yeah, sweet.
For the bonus.
What? I think it's wrong too.
Yeah.
But you can't be mad at the judging. It's fine.
So I didn't count that one at all.
Let's move on to round 2. So that's a 1 win for me. I'm 1 round up right now.
Yeah, so this will be Sony?
Round 2 is Sony.
Okay.
All right. So now Dan dropped the ball on this one big time. You really lost that one because you only had Detroit and Days Gone was going to be shown, but the release date, the gameplay, and all that stuff you got completely wrong.
On which one?
On both of Detroit and Days Gone. Because you said the release date for Detroit was quarter of 2018. Days Gone, you said holiday. It was going to be very gameplay review was going to be very character based, which it wasn't.
Right. I remember this argument that Dan and I had about the gameplay. And
then Dan also said we're going to be hearing very little about VR, which he got that wrong also. Mm-hmm. And then the infamous Sucker Punch talking about Infamous 3 for his Pie in the Sky.
Yeah.
So you only got Detroit and Days Gone was going to be shown, which that was okay. Now Ryan did clean up on this one. He got Spider-Man shown, got the name and the release date, but you got the release date wrong. They said 2018. Right now, you had quarter 1, but we don't really know because it still could come out in quarter 1, but we don't really know for sure.
Fair enough.
They said 2018. You said Days Gone also on stage, open world, crafting, storage with the release date. All wrong, but you got Days Gone was there. So you both kind of like canceled out the Days Gone thing.
Right.
You did get the VR thing on point. The 5 new
5
titles.
games.
They're
right.
really. I mean, they spent several minutes on that VR stuff.
And they showed 6.
Yep.
Yeah, I was counting along with them as they were showing.
So was I.
I was like, one more.
Shit.
Yep. Okay. And then the Pie in the Sky was the Until Dawn successor, Supermassive Next Gen. Will not be Until Dawn, which you got that right. because they did show a game.
Which is so it is a
it's a prequel.
It's a prequel, but it's not called Until Dawn, which is what I was saying from. And again, I had no faith that would be there.
Yeah, so you kind of cleaned up on that one. You went pretty much 4 for 4 on that one to Dan's 2. Yeah. So you got that round 10-9 also.
I feel good about that round, Dan.
So Ryan's up 2 rounds. Okay, so now Nintendo was the 3rd round. Sorry. Now Dan, you kind of flopped the big one on that one too.
I could be winning right here. This could be it.
Because you said we'll see both Super Mario games remastered for the Stitch, which they didn't say anything about.
They didn't say anything about.
Right.
Animal Crossing, but both you guys talked about Animal Crossing.
Man, that bummed me out real hard.
Yep.
I know. I can't believe they didn't. I thought for sure that was going to be there.
Yeah, I thought that I was going to do something with that too. Now, you did say about they're going to show a teaser for Metroid Switch, which that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They actually showed 2 Metroid type games on that one.
Yeah, 3DS one.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be good.
Then you said apps for the phone would be an online server, but flopped that one too. So on that one, you only got 1. Ryan got the Mario Odyssey. It was going to be shown. We got the release date wrong and the Switch bundle announced. They didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, I believe that, yeah.
We already went over the Animal Crossing. Pokemon Sun and Moon. They did mention something about that.
Now, they didn't mention what it would be, just that there's Pokemon coming.
It was going to be.
That was bizarre too. Just some dude who's like, "Yeah, so we're making a Pokemon game."
Yeah, he was sitting at the desk and announcing it.
We don't know that it's Sun and Moon though.
That's true.
Right. Yeah,
but I still got more right than you either way.
Yeah. And then your Pie in the Sky was Rocket League for Switch.
Jesus Christ, I know. You cleaned up on your fucking bullshit.
So I thought of the thing I really want that it was the least likely to happen, and that's what I used. And I
they
can't
all
believe
happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would not in a million years have believed that Rocket League was happening, and they opened their fucking press conference with like a sizzle reel that has it in it.
Yeah, I would have never believed that Nintendo would be the one to announce that. They would leave that for Psyonix.
Mm-hmm. It's in there, like 4 seconds in, they were showing Rocket League. I'm like, what is happening right now? I would have never have guessed that was a thing. I mean, Psyonix even said in the past they didn't have any plans to bring it to Switch.
They didn't have any plans, right.
Right. Yeah. That pick was like every bit of like, here's hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not expecting that.
Now, you did say a whole bunch of other stuff was going to happen in the Nintendo conference, which I used that for the bonus round.
I think I totally missed on the Joy-Cons too, didn't I? That was one of my picks.
Yeah, Joy-Cons.
They didn't show a fucking Joy-Con 1 in that thing.
Mm-mm. All right, so now the third party was round 4. So we look at the total. Brian's up 3 rounds to none. So 30 to 27 right now, going into the 4th round, which is third party.
Wait, can he still win?
Technically, yes.
That's some bullshit.
Because of the bonus round. The way I scored the bonus round is how he can win.
That's some bullshit, Dan.
Yep. Okay,
I didn't do the judging.
I'm
probably not going to win, but...
Okay, so the third party, both y'all talked about Bethesda, but Dan said they're going to show Starfield. Ryan said they're going to show Wolfenstein with the release date, and they showed the trailer. Dan said Ubisoft was going to show Beyond Good and Evil 2, which that looked pretty cool. I like that. That was a good pick there.
I never guessed that was going to hit either.
Yeah.
I did not believe that was going to be there.
Dan also said Square Enix was going to show an Avengers game, which they didn't show an Avengers game. And
they did show off that Final Fantasy fishing, though.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. And your Pie in the Sky was a Mass Effect DLC, which they didn't say anything about that.
Nope.
Ryan had the Bethesda, Wolfenstein, we just said, Evil Within 2 with the release date. One? They did say Evil Within, but you got the release date wrong. Devolver.
I got a little cocky with my release dates.
Yeah, you were going to release dates almost to everyone.
Yeah.
That could have hurt you in the long run. Then Devolver was going to show 30 titles, which they didn't show 30 titles.
Ooh. You want to talk about maybe the worst pick of all?
Mm-hmm. They showed half of that.
First off, Devolver's press conference was only 15 minutes long, and it was not a real press conference. It was like a joke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't watched it, you should watch it because it's fucking nuts. There's blood on stage, is all I'll tell you.
Yes. Not real blood.
We don't
know, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it could have been. But they only show like like 6 titles.
Yeah.
They use pig blood or something like that, or chicken blood or whatever.
I think it's just cornstarch and red, but I don't know. It's everywhere.
Yep. All right, and then your Pinus guy was Activision. Well, now it's Hearthstone for the Grizzlies.
Might have got a little too big on that one.
But see, that one I kind of thought, because of where Hearthstone was so big, I thought maybe you would get that. So Ryan won that round, 10-9. So right now you're up 40-36.
After all that, I'm only up 4 points.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in round five,
This makes me uncomfortable.
I did the Scorpio price point, just as a round. So Ryan won that one because it was $4.99. Dan said it was going to be $3.99. So at this point, Ryan is up 5 rounds to Dan's none. So right, it's 50-45. Now here's where it gets interesting. The bonus rounds I did off of all your extra picks, all the little stuff you said. Okay, this is going to happen. This is not going to happen. Like Dan had Amy was going to show up on stage and reveal a Star Wars title.
Did not happen.
Yeah, Ryan had on there Activision was going to be very Call of Duty heavy, 15 minutes plus.
Nope.
Didn't happen. So what I did is anything you said positively, I gave you a point. Anything you said that didn't happen, I docked a point.
Oh, shit. I talked a lot.
Yeah. So Dan actually came out even on that one, 0. So you didn't all the positive stuff you said counteracted all the negative stuff you said.
Okay.
So you stayed at your normal 45. Now Ryan, on the other hand,
Just talked a lot.
yeah, you had
I didn't know this was going to be a category.
you had 8 different picks in there, and you got 6 of them wrong.
Okay. Sounds
so
right.
You lost 6 points off of that,
I win.
Right.
but you got 2 points because you got 2 right. So that only knocked you down 4.
Okay.
Oh, you beat me by 1, you son of a bitch.
So the total ends up being 46-45, Ryan, and Ryan is your winner
I'll just
by 1 point.
First off, I'm going to say if we do it this way next year, I'm going to talk a lot less.
Oh no, I might change the scoring up.
He could do it different next year.
So he's holding up the picture of how he scored. We'll make sure we get that tweeted out from Gamestitch's Twitter. That'll also be on Gerald's Twitter at Hoffman Show.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out. I felt good when I watched the picks live all the way up until I got to the point where you just said that you counted against me for things I said, because I say a lot of things.
Yeah. I was wanting to do something different on the bonus round. I was like, and then that's what I figured. I was like, okay, now I'm going to dock you some points.
You didn't actually, not that much, Ryan. You only said 3 more things than me. I had 5 that I got judged on. Mine just evened out better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I knew that I said a lot of bullshit.
Oh,
Like
Yeah, a lot.
right. So
really? Amy Hennig?
yeah, I will.
I got really specific with Amy Hennig.
Yeah.
So what was so
See, I
disappointing?
counted that as 1 point, though. I only counted the whole thing as 1 point.
Right.
I'm really glad that you scored the Xbox, because I felt like I nailed everything with the Xbox except for the name. I had the release window right as far as the month.
Yeah,
had
you
the
did.
price right. I did think it was going to be called the Elite. I didn't think it was going to be called the One X. Xbox One X. Yeah, I
Xbox
don't
One
like
X.
that. Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird. I don't know if you guys follow Tesla, the car company.
Yeah.
But that's almost how like Xbox is naming their
S and
their-
the X, right?
Yeah.
So are you saying that Elon Musk and Bill Gates
But
secretly are discussing things?
I don't know. Maybe he's
Are
following
you-
his model. I mean,
Are you saying that right now? What's the new one called?
the new what?
The new Tesla.
new Tesla.
Oh, that $35,000 one?
Yeah, what's that one called?
Oh, sure. I don't even know offhand.
Yeah, that's going to be the next Xbox.
Yeah.
You heard it here first,
There.
folks.
You should.
Um,
Why don't you score him on that?
yeah. Somebody's bitter. Somebody's 1 point
The
bitter.
Tesla Xbox.
Yeah, the Tesla.
Oh, no, it's called the
What's the
it's
price
called the
point?
Model,
35 grand.
It's called the Model 3.
So the Xbox 3 is what we're going to get next. That's Gerald's lock of the week. You can move on it like it's already happened. He knows it's going to happen. So that's our E3 roundup as far as the competition goes. I think Gerald's going to hang out with us. We're going to jump into what we liked, what we didn't like, some of those picks that we were surprised about, and we're just going to chat about E3 as a whole. We have some questions from you guys we'll jump into, and then we'll round this podcast out. So, it's going to be a little different than a normal podcast. But we just kind of want to talk about E3 and what we saw, and just our overall thoughts on E3 2017.
You want me to go first?
Let's just you start. We'll jump in as we feel the need to.
Okay, this was a weird E3. We know it was the first one where they were allowing tickets to be sold to just outside civilians. It wasn't just for members of the press or that kind of thing. But man, it was a weird E3. Normally at E3, you've got tons of people, just presenters coming out and showing this and showing that, and this was literally just press conferences. This was one guy coming out, introducing who they are, and the rest of it was games. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. But I don't know that E3... That's what E3's supposed to be about traditionally in our minds. It may be getting switched up by that, but you saw it from all of the publishers, really. With the exception of wacky-ass fucking cuckoo bananas Devolver.
EA had their weird streamer circle jerk.
Their streamer fucking thing. I understand part of that was that they were trying to breathe new life into it, possibly. But one of the biggest things that struck me really from this year's E3 was the lack of new IPs or new games. A lot of stuff we'd already heard about, we'd already seen. They showed us more of that. They gave us a few more details, but as far as new things that we were going to be seeing, there was very, very little of that.
Mm-hmm. I think some of that is a product of those games from past E3s still not coming out.
Yes.
They can't continue to pile on when they have things that aren't coming out. I think that does limit. I think Sony's press conference last year obviously had a lot of influence on the press conferences this year.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Sony came out, and the same exact thing they did this year. They talked for 5 minutes, and then they hit you right between the eyes with games until you went home.
Right.
And I think you could see that a little more evident in a lot of other people's press conferences. I will say that EA's was not a good press conference in my eyes.
Yeah,
it did not feel good. The streamers were not good on camera.
Awkward. It was awkward. Yeah, they obviously did not test that at all to see how that was going to work.
He tossed that one guy. The prompter clearly quit working. Then he called the guy the wrong name.
Yep.
Just the whole thing was weird. Mm-hmm. I thought Ubisoft had a really strong and probably the most traditional press conference in that they had people come out and talk about their games and play them.
I also think that Ubisoft had one of the strongest showings this year.
Yeah, I think they had a really good lineup. I think the idea that... So for them to... I want to talk a little bit about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Whatever that thing's called.
Whatever the fuck it's called.
That's a huge deal. So it's the first Mario game that has been developed outside of Japan. It is also developed by Ubisoft. So it's not a deal where Nintendo's all up in that thing. I mean, they're letting Ubisoft make the game they wanted to make, and for a role-playing strategy game like that, I'm kind of excited, even though I typically don't like those games.
Yeah.
I talked about surprisingly, Disgaea bringing me in a little bit, and I could see the loop that people fell into.
Mm-hmm.
Something about mixing that with Mario and the Rabbids, and making it playful, and it looks very entry level as far as those strategy games go. People who play it say it is XCOM with Mario and Rabbids, and that to me seems really cool because XCOM is not the kind of game I want to play. It looks too serious for me. It doesn't look like anything I'll be good at. But if you mix it with Mario, and I think you give a lower entry level for as far as skill level goes, that game could be really exciting, and we're going to talk about our top 5 picks. It's not on my list, but it is definitely an honorable mention for me.
Gotcha.
I did not agree with them showing Fractured Butthole. I think that's shitty because that game gets getting delayed. I don't think you brag about this game that's coming out when people are waiting.
Have been
for
waiting
it like that.
for it for a year.
Right, but Assassin's Creed looked fucking great.
Yes, it
The
did.
time off looked like it was very good for that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought they had a really strong press conference, and even though it was sort of predictable, I thought it was a very strong showing. I like the wackiness of them being out there with the fucking guns on their hands, and I like how like awkward E3 is sometimes. And with them just coming out in a lot of press conferences and showing videos, to me it kind of like Dan, I do think it's a little weird, even though I do like that just game after game. But I will say that Xbox, I could have totally done without that Porsche being on stage. It's unnecessary. It's not a place for me to roll out a new car. That took valuable time that I could have been seeing about another game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when nobody there can really afford that thing.
Right.
I'll tell you my impressions. I actually think that this year's press conference signaled a sea change for Microsoft. They talked about, they still haven't really hit on a lot of AAA exclusives this year. They talked about some indie stuff. They talked about the Scorpio, or Xbox X, whatever you want to call it now. It's official term.
World's most powerful system.
Yeah, world's most powerful system. They talked about the price point. They talked about all these games that are going to be optimized for that. Even though they didn't talk about it, they recently released Game Pass. I think this kind of marked a sea change. I think Microsoft has figured out where their place is in this console generation, and I think they are much more. They were very particular this year. If you listen closely, they were very much about marketing their, not so much the games of their system, but the structure of their system. As far as live, they had a lot on the multiplayer and how you're going to be able to do all this multiplayer. They had a lot. Microsoft had a lot of multiplayer this year. So it's almost like that ecosystem that they've created with Xbox Live is what they've decided to market more so than these AAA exclusives or things like that. They seem to be marketing it all cohesively for that Xbox Live ecosystem is the way I walked away from it. I don't know how you guys felt, but I almost feel like they've decided to step away from the console and the games and kind of market their UI and all that they've created as more of the selling point.
I think they only really pushed what they're really good at and what they're known for, and they didn't try to expand on what they could do with the game systems and their games.
Right. I think they finally figured out that as far as the AAA titles and the in-house studios, Sony has beat them. They're not going to be able to catch up at this point. There is too much of a head start. So they've kind of changed their marketing strategy and their branding to their whole live and play anywhere and all that, as opposed to look at these huge AAA titles we got. And I think that's that's especially indicative when we talk about how no Halo was talked about. That's huge for Microsoft, but I think it's part of the sea change we're seeing over there at those studios. So
I was very disappointed in Microsoft's showing. I shouldn't come away from an E3 where they showed off a new console and be thinking about Sea of Thieves still.
Right.
That and that's I've always been very excited about Sea of Thieves, so I know that it's going to be tough for. To me, like, the Scorpio is not news for anyone. I don't hear anyone talking about the One X.
No.
It came out. I heard a lot of people grumble about the price. I heard people say that's what I thought about the price. Past that, I don't hear anybody talking about it.
No, I don't either.
That shouldn't happen. For the right or wrong reasons, PS4 Pro had a lot of buzz. People thought it shouldn't happen. It was overpriced. It was going to segment the audience. No one's talking about the One X, and that to me is a scary thing, because that is... that's how they opened their press conference. It was in your face. Look at this thing we're doing, and I'm like, why is there a Porsche on stage?
And I realize
that shouldn't be my thought.
I think Sony kind of took the wind out of that sales. People knew what to expect now because Sony had already done it with the PS Pro.
And the PS4 Pro, so it's clear, if you look at it on paper, the Xbox One X is a much more powerful system.
Right, but I think that the Xbox One X, as I stated before, is only one part of this ecosystem that they're marketing.
But if I went to 100 people who play games and I said, is the Xbox One X just a PS4 Pro, I think they would say yes.
Oh,
even
yeah.
though it,
4K and all that stuff.
Yeah, even though it's much more powerful, I just don't think that it had the showing that I thought it needed for that price point. I mean, if you're Sony, you almost want to walk over and shake Phil Spencer's hand and say thank you. Because you've come out, you're more expensive, so we don't even need to lower the price of ours. We were here first, so yeah, your technology should be a little better. It was a year later, and we're still selling them like hotcakes. 1 out of every 5 PS4s sold is a PS4 Pro. Like, people are buying them. They make VR better. Microsoft, you didn't show your VR. You didn't show a reason why I need a better one. It just looks slightly better, because if that's all the case, I don't want to spend $500 to look slightly better. And I talked about this a lot on and off of this podcast, but HDR and 4K is impossible to show off when you're watching it on your TV.
That's what I was going to, and I was actually going to bring that up when you were done, if you didn't, is that Microsoft talks so much about, these games look amazing, but 90% of the people that were watching this conference weren't able to see that.
And it's the same thing that Sony suffered with when they showed off the 4K Pro.
Or VR.
The Pro, I mean. So, yeah, I'll get to VR in a second. So, like, Pro is the same way where, when they showed off the Pro, the people that were there were like, oh my God, HDR is incredible. But when you're at home, you're like, yeah, it looks like the same game.
Yeah, right.
Because you're not watching it on that TV, and it's very hard to show off. I think the struggle with VR is even more serious because VR games look like PS3 games when you're not in the headset. So when they show off these VR games, especially Sony, dedicating so much time, they kind of all look like shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you're meant to see them. But when you're standing in that world, it's so much different. So when they show off those games and people are like, okay, that looks bad. Like, it does, but it wouldn't if you were wearing the headset. And I'm afraid that a lot of people's perception on what VR is and how VR works is kind of... It's not their fault, but I mean, it's kind of skewed because you're only seeing that version where they take it out of VR and stretch it out and put it on a screen, and it does make it look bad.
Well, I'm not going to... And a couple of the games that Sony showed for VR confused me. There was a couple platformers in there that I'm not sure I want for my VR system.
So the Game Trust, the GameStop published game, looked totally like a side view platformer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking happens is, I think because at the very end of that, the thing reaches over and does something. I think you interact with the level itself as like an Overwatcher. You move things so that the guy can navigate through. I'm not even sure if you're controlling the person or if you're just changing the environment so they can navigate through it. I don't know what that is, but the thing to keep in mind with Game Trust games is so far they've all been cheap.
Yeah.
So if this is a $14 VR experience, it's probably fine either way. Supermassive was very big in the VR space.
Yes.
They showed off Bravo Team. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Looks like an on-rail shooter, military-style shooter. I don't care about that. And the Inpatient is supposed to be playable in VR. So the Inpatient is their follow-up, prequel to Until Dawn. And then they showed off a Hidden Agenda, which is not a VR game.
Their
Playlink, is that what it's called?
Playlink
is their weird mobile... It's their party franchise, their party line of games. I think this is cool for people who get together. I'm not one of those people, but I think this is totally... Hidden Agenda looks awesome. It looks like the kind of game that if you had 4 friends to come over, you would have a fucking blast playing.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like these gaming companies confuse the social medias and using phones with the community aspect of things. I don't know. I know plenty of people in different age ranges, and I don't know anybody who has friends over to play games on apps.
Well, see, I know people that get together and play the Jackbox collection, things like that. I think this is in the same vein. It's just not requiring you to have 4 controllers.
I don't know any of those either, though.
Yeah, see, I do know some of those people that get together and do that. And I think the idea that, Supermassive said, when we watch people play Until Dawn on screen, like on Twitch, all it was people like screaming in the comments on what to do. So we're not there yet, but can we find a way to bring more people into decision making? And I think it's the right track. How well it does segment the audience, because if you don't have people coming over,
it does.
If there was a way for you and I to play that online, again, it would be great.
Right.
We don't have to sit back real goofy and like hide our phones so you know what my hidden agenda is. But if we could play it online together, I think that would be an incredible experience. Like, I love the idea. I think, and I hope, I guess I should say, that the inpatient is their priority. I hope. These other things are cool. Hidden Agenda's a neat idea. Bravo Team, people will buy it because they're jonesing for something in VR, but I hope that the inpatient is their priority, because Until Dawn was beautiful. And if you're Sony, you need to just go ahead and buy these guys.
And by the way, my next question, Ryan, what the fuck is Moss?
So Moss is, oddly enough, the one that everyone is most excited about.
What the fuck is it?
I don't know. I mean, it looks like a platformer.
I know.
But everyone is so, like, everything I read, everything I listen to, the people who were there who got to play, like, everyone says, like, Moss is incredible. Like, Moss is the VR title that you're going to want. It just looks like a platformer where you play as a mouse.
A mouse.
A Fievel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Fievel.
Goes west.
An American Tail.
It just looks, I don't know. It just looks like
weird, odd to me.
It looks like a platformer. I don't know how
that works in VR. I don't know if I don't know if I was in VR, if I would care about that.
The over-the-shoulder stuff and the third-person stuff in VR is strange. But I still think the idea of... So, and that may be the thing with Moss. Being in that environment where that mouse is at may make that just enjoyable, even though the gameplay may not make a lot of sense as far as watching something you're controlling. But it does change the perspective. Like, being able to look down on something versus staring at a screen, it does change it when you're there and watching it. You would feel more for a mouse that was right in front of you than you would that was one on the screen. It just is different. So you may have that bond, and that may be how that Game Trust game works too, which I can't remember the name of. It may be how it works too. The Final Fantasy fishing thing is weird. It looks super Japanese and charming, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an expansion and you have to have Final Fantasy. I don't know if it's standalone. If it's standalone, I could tell you 100% I'll buy it. Because it looks just insane enough that it would be a good time. And it's probably
I can tell you 100% I will not buy it. Even if I have VR, I will not buy it.
Yeah, but you don't like fishing games.
That's incredibly true.
Yeah, I'm into fishing. I'm still on a. I have a hidden agenda to convince somebody to buy everybody's golf, because I want someone to play that game with, and it has fishing in it.
I know. I saw.
So I played that beta. I absolutely loved it. I still can't. I don't think I still can't give you impressions. But if I wasn't giving you an impression, I'd say I loved it. And it's not super golf, like it's not Tiger Woods. It is hot shots, and it's goofy, and you run around from hole to hole instead of just like it loading. Like, you run super fast and you jump super high, and it's weird in Japanese, but it's really fun even if you don't like sports games, because, like I said, golf is only a part of it. The rest of it is being weird and almost like being on a game show. And there's tons of unlockables and stuff like that, and it's almost a golf RPG. And so I hope that I can, and it's $39. That's the other thing that Sony's doing. Sony's coming out with games that aren't $60.
No, not for me.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, well, you two aren't the ones I'm trying to get, because I want to enjoy myself with it too.
Yeah,
I like enjoying myself too.
But I have two people in mind that I think I can convince to get this game. And
do I know who they are?
Yeah. And one of them. I don't know that you know the other. But I totally can see myself playing this for 40 or 50 hours. I love the Hot Shots games, and I think this is the next. I really think they're doing something different with this one.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, they have lots of online. I think the $39 price point is awesome. They have another game that's coming out, I think, at $39. I forget which one it is. But Sony's doing these cheaper titles, and I think it totally... Knack 2. Knack 2 is $39.
Knack 2 is $39.99.
Yeah, that's smart. Like these budget titles. So
that's a great idea, yeah.
You don't have to take as much of a chance. I'll tell you what, everybody shit on Knack when it came out. Everybody shit on Knack and made fun of Knack. Knack got a lot of applause. And we both went to the theater thing. I mean, Knack got applause there. You could hear applause for people who were in the actual press conference clapping. And even if it's like out of joking, people are familiar with Knack. Knack is a character people know, and people will play that game.
I liked Knack.
Yeah,
I recognize the flaws that were in it. I recognize it was basically a glorified tech demo. I had fun
Knack
with
it. 100% a tech demo that I think they made into a full-fledged game, and I think they'll do the same thing for Knack 2 and the idea of drop-in, drop-out co-op.
Yes.
Like we could play Knack together.
We talked about that when Knack first came out, how we wish we could do it.
What's the other cool thing as far as we're talking about co-op? A Way Out? Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, I want to play that. I want to play that.
That's incredible. Like, that's the kind of game that...
Will you get that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100% I'll get that. If someone else is getting it, I want to be able to play.
I'll get it. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I get it too.
The split screen, where, like, you're listening to what they're saying and you have to go do it while it's happening.
Yeah.
This guy's got a screwdriver, and you're like, fuck, I got to go get that screwdriver while the guard's distracted.
Yep.
Or, like, whatever's happening, like... The idea that you really don't just play together, you work together, that game looks awesome. I don't know if it'll work, but I applaud them for trying, and I want to play that
I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
That game is cool. So that's a cool co-op. Do you want to jump into our list so that I don't spoil some of these?
Into our questions?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's start with Garrett's question, I think.
Garrett's question. We'll start with Garrett's. Thomas Barfield has a question, too. It kind of wraps into this. This will be a follow-up question, Thomas's. But Garrett Wade asks us, by the way, what's up, Garrett? Shout out. Garrett Wade asks each of us, what 5 games are you now or are you more excited for after E3? He lists his here. He's got Metro Exodus, Spider-Man, Code Vein, Anthem, and God of War.
Also worth noting, and I think he points this out on his Twitter.
He does. Not a single Microsoft game on there.
Yeah. Coming from Xbox, that being his primary console, he does not have a single Xbox game listed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I assume that he plans to play on Xbox based off his tweet.
Yes.
Because I know some of those, Metro will be on Xbox, but it appears he plans to play it on his PS4.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see somebody get into another system, no matter what that system is.
So Ryan, top 5.
Okay. I'll
5 games
start.
are you either now excited for or more excited for?
Okay, let me get my list out here.
Get your list out.
Okay. So I don't have these in any particular order. These are just the 5 that I'm excited about. Again, honorable mention for Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's my 6th pick. Sea of Thieves. I'll tell you, Ubisoft came out and showed Skull and Bones.
Not the same.
Which is like the naval combat from Assassin's Creed. Some might even say a more grown-up version of Sea of Thieves. Here's the thing, not what I'm looking for.
Nope.
Not looking for the grown-up version of Sea of Thieves. I'm looking for Sea of Thieves.
I'm looking to get shot out of a cannon and...
Oh my God! They shot people out of cannons.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
They shot someone out of a cannon onto somebody else's boat. It's goofy. It's silly. A shark was chasing them. They dropped the treasure. Someone else picked it up. They ran on shore. Someone else dropped it. Someone else picked it up. They're shooting skeletons in the face. It takes forever to load the gun. It's all perfect. It looks fun. It looks goofy. It looks like the kind of thing that I want to play with everybody I know. I know that Garrett is on board with it. Thomas has talked about it.
I'm getting
obviously,
it.
I'm playing it. You're playing it. Sea of Thieves is a game that I'm super excited about, and if I had put these in order, it would probably be up top. It's
if I
also
had
worth
Xbox, I'd get it.
It's worth noting this is the only Xbox game on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So Sea of Thieves. Mario Odyssey. I think that game is weird. I think they're doing something different with Mario, and for all the hate that it got when it was announced, it seems to totally have gone away now that people have got to play it. The hat looks cool. The world looks cool. Seeing Mario in like a pimp suit with a fedora on is something that I didn't know that I needed until now. Seeing Bowser in all white coattails, like it's fun, and it's very Nintendo. Their actual setup at E3, they recreated the new Donk City. It looked awesome. I just love that Nintendo continues to march to the beat of their own drum, and it works for them. So Mario Odyssey. Spider-Man. I don't know how you watched that and didn't think Spider-Man looked great. There are people who saw the behind-the-scenes demo where they actually... Spider-Man was not playable, but they played Spider-Man in front of you. And it was the same segment, but apparently it went totally different when they played it. And I think that's awesome, too. Just the way... And apparently it's so fast and the combat looks so fluid. I heard several people say, like, expect the next generation of, like, Arkham when you're talking about the combat. And that to me means a lot because they pretty much pioneered that free flow combat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Spider-Man looks great. Rocket League for Switch. I don't know how I'm not excited about this because I never thought it would happen. And the idea that I could play anywhere that I go that has Wi-Fi. They also came out and said it is cross-play. This is a whole different problem, but it's cross-play with Xbox and PC. So you are going to have a built-in community to play with. And it does run at a locked 60 frames per second. It is only running at 720 instead of 1080, but that's not going to matter. They got the frame rate up. That's what's important.
Mm-hmm.
They did have to make other graphical sacrifices. They have not said what those are, but it's still not going to matter. As long as it's running at 60, it's going to be playable with those other platforms. So I think that's really cool. All of the previous content is there. So all the DLC will exist for it, and they also have exclusive battle cars and toppers. Customization stuff, just like they did for the Xbox and the PS4. So this looks like a full-on Rocket League. I hope it's not $60. I don't think that's right if they do that. It's got to come out at the same price point as the limited edition for PS4 and Xbox One, the $39 or whatever it was.
Right.
That's the right price for that. And then rounding out my list is Fortnite. So Fortnite's one I've been excited about for a while. I didn't know it was ever going to come to consoles. It's been on PC for like 5 years. Been early access for like 3 years. People have played the shit out of this game already. I did not expect it to come to console, and this is the kind of thing I want to play with everybody I know.
Is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This is probably the game that we've talked about the most coming out of E3.
Yes.
We've all talked about it. I've talked about it with Howard. I've talked about it with Patman, who I play with almost every night. We've talked about it in depth. Talked about it with Gerald. Talked about it with you. Fortnite is crazy cool looking. It's a tower defense, third person action adventure shooter. Like you can almost throw it in every genre you can imagine. And the cool thing is, where Dan maybe doesn't like to spend as much time building as I do, and I don't like to spend as much time as Gerald does gathering resources. And I'm not one that's going to go out and sneak around like Dan's going to sneak. The idea that everybody can have their role and play to their strength while we all still play the same game is awesome.
It is awesome. Incredibly awesome.
The construction person is like fucking building the base up in the middle of a fight.
Yep.
Like that's awesome. Like you're fighting and I'm putting up panels. Like that game should work awesome for us. It is an Epic is developing it. It's being published by Gearbox for the physical edition. This is one of those weird. So it's following the same model as Paragon. It is a free-to-play game, but there are these founder packs.
Yep.
They get you early access and more stuff in the game. So the game actually launches July 25th for the Founders Pack. If you pre-order it, you get it 4 days earlier on July 21st. If you wait for the free version, my understanding is it's not out till 2018. So there is quite a wait if you do not get this Founders Pack. But the Founder Pack will be available all the way up until the game comes out. So, and I know we've already talked to Garrett. I think Garrett's already pre-ordered it. Looking forward to playing with it. Obviously, if Thomas can get on, we'd love that too. There is only 4 people at a time, but if we get a big enough community up together, we can always split off and play in different packs of everybody. This looks like the kind of game, though, that it would be fun for us.
It's going to be a lot of fun for us to play.
Yes,
yeah. Now, are you guys getting the physical copy, or?
I'm so up and down with what I want to do.
I'm going physical. I don't like. I don't do digital.
So you're going to get the $59 version.
Yeah.
Does the
That's
physical release on the 21st as well?
Correct.
Okay.
If you pre-order it.
Yeah, if you pre-order. Yeah.
That's my understanding. Garrett also got the physical based off of what he sent us. I don't know. I'm so torn. You know, I'm a physical guy. But
you get a lot better goodies with the digital.
That digital, yeah, some of the higher digitals, the $89 digital comes with the $39.99 version. I've talked about this. If I could find someone just to straight up buy that $39.99 version for me, for that price, or for like $35 or something, I like what you get with that. I am a physical guy, but because this game is going to require that, I feel like it's a game I'm going to play a lot. I don't mind having it on where I can just scroll over and click on it either. The digital seems convenient for a game that I'm probably going to be jumping in and out of a lot. Like, I wanted the physical release of Rocket League. I bought it. That's not what I play off of. I play off the one that's just installed because it's easier.
Right.
And as much as I play Rocket League, I don't want to have to put the disc in every time. So, if I play this game like I think I'm going to play this game, digital might be more convenient. But, you know, I'm partial to physical. Holding that disc, it'll piss me off for you to have it and me not for the physical. So, that's where I'm at on that.
Why not both?
Now, Gerald, we didn't tell you about our top 5 list.
No.
So I'm going to throw this to Dan. Give you a little more time. If you can't come up with 5, that's okay. But I'm going to let Dan go next, talk about his top 5, and then maybe that'll give you enough time.
Okay.
My top 5. Actually, my top 5 are a lot of the weird ones, which is probably no surprise to anyone. I'm not quite as excited about some of the stuff as everyone else seems to be. Fortnite I am excited about. Again, these are in no particular order. For all the reasons Ryan spoke of, Fortnite and Sea of Thieves. Those have to be in my top 2 list because it's not often that I get excited about multiplayer. And it's just I'm excited to play the multiplayer in these games, which is not something that just ever happens. So for that reason, I have to put them up there because they've gotten me excited about something that I'm not usually into. My last 3 is Detroit Become Human, which probably doesn't surprise too many people. I've always been a big fan of the David Cage games. I've talked about it a number of times. The Quantic Dream stuff.
And I think Detroit is cool. I think they showed off another character. I think that game is going to be great. I just don't. I'll tell you what. I was so turned off with Beyond Two Souls. Yeah, I did not get into that, and I loved Heavy Rain so much. So I'm very much in a holding phase for Detroit.
Well, and the reason I'm so excited about Detroit is because I was a big fan of Fahrenheit, also known as Indigo Prophecy.
Right.
Because that had a little bit more of the supernatural element to it. In this case, it's got kind of a very cyberpunk Blade Runner feel. And that is what has me super excited about it.
The choices in Heavy Rain just felt really heavy to me.
And I understand that, but it was very much based in reality, which I live reality. That's not where I want to go for my playtime.
Yeah, see, I just want another Heavy Rain.
So
that was a special game, but I do understand where you're coming from. I am excited about that.
And the idea of the Android rebellion is just fucking cool.
Yeah.
The story definitely is something I'm interested in. Not sure the game though.
Right. It looks. I mean, it's going. You know what to expect out of these kind of games,
right?
So the story is going to be the thing that carries this game. And they're very confident in it. They still didn't date this thing.
No.
So it tells me they're not worried about it. It'll come out when it comes out. David Cage makes the game he wants to make.
Always has.
So I think it's one that I could totally understand you being excited about.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, I'm super excited about. Huge fan of the first game. The second game. But been waiting, who the fuck knows how long now, 10 years or so since they've said we're working on it. We have an idea.
It's really weird. They showed off a cinematic trailer for it. which, would make you think maybe it's not far along. But then they've come out and said they've been working on it for 3 years. So I don't know what state that game is in.
I'm thinking they just don't want to... Well, from what I've sound like, because I've been doing research afterwards, and they've got they're working on a procedurally generated thing and all that. So it's stuff they kind of want to keep under wraps and not show too much of. Make sure it's working properly would be my guess.
It'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
And my last game that I am... Actually, I'm going to save this for my favorite E3 announcement. Did you save a specific one for your favorite, Ryan?
No, I didn't.
You did not. Okay, I won't either then. But now I gave it away though. So, Life is Strange Before the Storm, for obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have to explain to anybody how much I love the Life is Strange universe and what Don't Nod has done with that. I know Don't Nod isn't so much working on the prequel, even though they have some involvement. So, and it's coming out like soon, like August soon. So I'm super pumped about that one. Which actually brings me to another question we have. Baraxis Games, who we know as Elliot, actually asked me a specific question. And he says, how do you feel about Ashley Birch not voicing Chloe in Life is Strange prequel due to Screen Actors Guild? For those of you who aren't to know, right now the voice actors have been on strike. For that reason, Ashley Birch, who is one of the voice actors, has been part of this strike, so she has not been working. The original Life is Strange, she played one of the main characters, who's going to be the main character in the prequel, and her nailed it on her voice acting. It was really one of the things that really made the game what it was. Really brought out the emotion and of being a teenage girl growing up and facing these problems. She will not be the voice of the same character in the prequel because of the strike. The character Chloe is going to be younger in the game, so it's not hard to explain away a voice change. A lot of people were upset about Ashley not being part of it as far as the voice goes, but it's very important to note that she was actually brought on. She has such a profound understanding of the character that she was actually brought on as a writer and a contract work. What is it? Guys, help me.
Freelance?
It's freelance, but it's where you assist and then you're like an expert in something and you assist. I can't even think of the word.
Like an advisor?
Yeah, advisor. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
She was brought on as an advisor because she has such a profound understanding of the character that even though she was not able to do the voice, they brought her on to write some of the lines and to get a better understanding of the character. So she is involved in the game even though she's not providing the voice. Of course, it bothers me that she's not going to be the voice because she did such an amazing job in the first one. But her involvement to me is important. It shows she cares about the character. This is a universe I want to continue. And it shows me that she is invested in this. So when and if it does continue, she will be a part of that. Possibly back as a voice actor. Possibly just, again, as an advisor or something like that. So while it bothers me that she doesn't provide her voiceover talents to the character, I am incredibly uplifted by the fact that she is at least involved with the character that she helped create so well. So that's my answer to that, Elliot. Thanks for the question.
I'm surprised that's your top 5, right?
That's my top 5, yes.
I'm surprised you don't have Anthem on there.
Anthem is probably my honorable mention.
I thought that's the one you'd be jazzed up about.
I am really, really excited about Anthem. I just don't know that I know enough about it yet. You know me. It's not all about how it looks to me. Yeah, it looked great. I don't have any idea how the gameplay works. I don't have any idea what the story is. So while I'm super, super... If this was, what top 5 games do you want to hear more about since watching ET or E3? It would be
ET.
Anthem.
Or ET, either way.
It would be Anthem. But as far as top 5 games that I'm excited for or more excited for, it's the ones that I listed, and this is probably their number 6, 7, because I need to know more to know how excited I am about it.
Yeah. I also want to say God of War looks incredible. I know
God
we
of
didn't
War-
talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It does look incredible. Again, I have kind of an understanding of the story.
I don't like that character. I don't like Kratos. But I'll tell you what, I like what they're doing with him right now.
Yeah, I think it's cool. They're doing something different with him.
Yeah. So you have your 5 ready, Gerald?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so let's jump into yours.
Okay, I had a Fortnite on there, just like you guys.
Okay.
That was the first time I really seen that, and I was like super excited because all the building and crafting and running around.
You love to gather resources. People don't know that about you, but you are a resource gatherer.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know
Like
who's going to be
big
protecting your asses all the time.
nobody needs to protect me. I'm at home. I'm gonna be
Bullshit.
in the box.
You're going
I'll
to be putting you're going to be putting panels up.
Yeah, I don't need
Don't-
protecting.
Don't piss me
Right.
off, or I'm letting them come through.
Ryan will be telling me, I need this, I need wood, I need that. I'll be out there getting it.
Right, that's the hope.
All right, so I had that one on. That was, like I said, that was the first time I seen that, and got super excited when I seen that one. I had Days Gone on there. I thought that was pretty. It got me more in wanting that game when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Assassin's Creed, of course. I love the Assassin's Creed series. And
You're a
the
fanboy.
games. Actually, I haven't even played the last one.
You haven't
I
played
haven't-
Syndicate?
I have not played Syndicate. I have it, but I have not played it yet.
You played Origins?
Yeah.
Wow, you did that wrong.
China, I played all that. I did not play Syndicate, though.
Unity, he even played Unity.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I played and beat
God.
Unity. I was going to try to platinum that one, but there's too much dumb shit in there I don't want to do. Let's see. Far Cry 5.
It looked great.
I like that, especially with the religious and the cult thing on there. Pretty neat. I've never played a Far Cry game, so it's the first time I've seen like a game. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna definitely try a Far Cry game. Now that's got me wanting to go back and play maybe Far Cry 4 just to see what I'm getting myself into. And my last but not least was going to sound weird, but is Ace Combat.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to play Ace Combat in VR. That story looks like the most convoluted piece of shit I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, they're horrible
And-
stories, but I love the Ace Combat games.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get it. Also, I think it'll be fun at the very least. I think it'll be a good time. And the VR stuff, like I said, you can't show off VR very well, but I think it'll be great.
To wrap up, we have one last question that's kind of in the vein of all these. Thomas Barfield asks us, what was your favorite E3 announcement?
Okay. So you have one, Dan?
Life is Strange in
Your
August.
Life is Strange. What about you, Gerald? Was one of those bigger than the rest?
I don't know,
Yeah, it's tough for me too.
because nothing like really wowed me. Like, oh my god, I want to see that. Or
There weren't a lot of new announcements.
That's true.
So
I mean, Fortnite would probably be like the biggest thing that got me like really, because I was talking about that for a while.
right, like we've spent a lot of time talking about. As far as announcements, like I said, the Xbox One X really let me down a lot. I guess I was not expecting. I was not expecting Nintendo to show off Kirby and Yoshi, especially Yoshi. That cardboard thing looks awesome. But probably would say the VR stuff, even though that was one of my picks. I really like the time that Sony spent with that. And it would have easily been Impatient had Sony just showed that off more. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Or maybe
All I know is
the biggest surprise for me would be Microsoft not saying anything about Gears of War or Halo.
Yeah. The Minecraft thing is a huge deal. We haven't talked about it, but the idea that everything is going cross-platform with the exception of Sony again, way to go. That's incredible.
We don't need to get into that because that's another 2 hours.
So on Switch, you're going to be playing with everybody. There's some weirdness in Switch. You have to now log in, or you will have to log in with an Xbox One or an Xbox account, live account.
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of weirdness going on to make it all play together, but the idea that it can all play together is awesome.
But
and
you
the
can
idea,
do it. That's what matters.
And the idea that Sony sells, the reason it's not doing it as protection for me, I don't care for that. I didn't ask you to protect me.
Did you see Microsoft's response to that?
No.
Yeah, they responded to that, saying I think it was something like along the lines of, "Do you not think we're protecting our players on our side?
Right.
Do you think we put out a game that we're not going to protect?" So
it's kind of what Microsoft does.
Yeah, better than Sony.
Right. So I think that's a bullshit excuse. The same thing happened with Rocket League. Sonic said, "Hey, we can make everybody play together. We know how. It works."
And Sony said, "Nah."
And then when Microsoft called their bullshit on it and said, "Okay, let's talk about it," Sony's like, "Whoa. I mean, we're open to talk somewhere down the road, but let's just calm our tits now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's just fucking put that on the parking lot for a second."
Now, are you going to get Minecraft in VR? Or try it?
I don't have a way. I mean, I don't think the VR is coming to PSVR right now. So I don't know if that's a game I care to play in VR. I guess it would be cool to look up and see the thing that you've built. Mm-hmm. I guess that would be neat. But I just don't. I don't know what my options are for playing that.
Yeah, well, I have the Android VR. I'm wondering if I can, if it comes to Android, I can try it out.
I would say your odds of getting it there are better than getting it on PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
But I was really optimistic with VR getting such a long time. I do think it suffers. We went to the theater thing together, and you could tell there wasn't a lot of excitement for VR in that room. There's a million units out there, but there's also a ton more, 50 million that are sold. So
you're the only one of the normal guys that we talk to have it.
Right. So there's a small group of people to be excited about it, and I can tell you that apparently they weren't the ones who were in. They weren't the ones that were in the theater with us, because there just wasn't excitement for the VR titles, and I hope that they catch on. I hope that what I want them to do is stop showing multiplayer stuff for VR. Nobody has one. Stop showing multiplayer stuff for it. All you're doing is showing me a game that I can't play with anybody.
Right.
So I really want them to heavily focus on first-person stuff for VR. I think that's where we need to go. I think it's smart to focus on that, because I got Eagles Flight and nobody's ever on to play it. So you're pretty much just playing that game in single player just because there's no one available to play it in multiplayer. So I want to see them focus on that, and I think they did do a pretty good job with that. Bravo Team's a little concerning if that's a multiplayer game, because again, nobody has it. But Moss looks great because it's a single player. The Game Trust thing is great single player. I just think VR doesn't need multiplayer stuff right now until it's in more hands.
Do you think Sony will drop the price of VR before Christmas?
I don't know. I don't think they need to.
Maybe like $50.
I think they should want to, because it's available now. It's obviously not selling like it did. They did hit their forecast. They made their initial money. Now I think you drop it and you start getting it in people's hands. Right, but I don't think they need to. I think the product is worth what they're charging, but I think it would help out that market a lot.
Yeah, because I'm starting to see, when I go out in stores, I'm starting to see one or two on the shelves. Before I didn't see them, but now I'm starting to see them.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. I've finally seen them available almost everywhere, so now it's time to start getting people excited about it again, and I don't think the games they showed off are going to do that.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, VR, I'm finding VR everywhere.
Yeah.
But nothing out there that... Ryan, you make Farpoint sound cool, but you're also trying to sell me on VR, so I don't know if I can trust you or not.
Farpoint is cool, and it's one of those things, I could jump in and stream it, and you could watch it, and you'd be like, eh. It's so hard to show. You can't showcase a VR game, and you may not like, I guess, Farpoint, but I think there's so many more titles than people realize for VR. I mean, there's probably over. I checked. There's 220 in development or out already.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some that look kind of cool that I would like to try, but not for $400.
Right.
Like if you're playing a game, can we jump in and watch you as you're playing it?
You can't watch me, but you're not going to
VR.
You're not going to get the same experience, and then you have to be careful. Some people have to be careful, I should say, that motion sickness occurs way more easily when you're watching someone play a VR game than when you're watching someone play normally.
Yeah.
because what you see is my head movement.
Yeah,
so
I've
what
got
I look at is what
no
you see.
concerns here.
Yeah, so if you are someone who easily gets motion sickness, you could do that. I don't mind jumping in and playing VR and streaming it out if that's something people want to see. But just keep in mind you're not seeing what I see in the same way that I see it. The cool thing about PlayStation VR is it does have a second screen experience. So for anything you play, you can watch. Other people can watch you play, but it's just not the same. So anyone that's listening, podcast at Gamestitch.com or hit us up on Twitter at Game_Stitch. Let me know. I don't mind playing something. Farpoint is something I could play, but I would say it's probably going to ruin it a little bit for you. Because there are not two ways to play Farpoint.
Right.
So what you see is what you're going to see when you play. So that's our takeaways from E3. I think it was a different E3. I think the people who went to E3 did not enjoy it as much because the waits were incredible. People saying they wait 6 hours to play one game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Apparently they wait 4+ hours to even get in Mario's booth or in Nintendo's booth, and then had to wait once inside to play a game. There were certainly some cool setups. I thought what Bethesda did was cool. They basically built an area for each game. Apparently the Evil Within was like in this dark room where you couldn't really see anything to go in and play the demos. Wolfenstein was in like a 50s diner where they were actually making milkshakes, and you sat down at a booth to play the game.
Yeah, see, I really like Bethesda's little conference. I like the whole little commercial aspect of it. And
the Bethesda land.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and they did it very similar to Sony where it was just kind of like game. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that was the theme this year, is just less bullshit, less dude walking out on stage and being like, welcome, whatever, Mark Cerny from Sony, and he just comes out and bores everybody to death for 20 minutes.
There's just not enough new announcements, I think, for E3.
Yeah. And hopefully, because a lot of these games that have been in production for a long time, you saw them get dated for this holiday or for 2018. Hopefully by next year, you'll get a lot less of
those and more new.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the one that has me most concerned is one that's on Gerald's top 5, Days Gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid that game may not be good. And I just don't know about that game.
What exactly has you concerned?
The combat part of that game. That is the thing that everyone who saw the closed door demo has spoke about. Apparently the combat seems very clunky. The hand-to-hand does not work well. The animations aren't right. But they didn't date that game, but I don't know if there's time to go back and fix that. Some of the encouraging things I've heard is that when they saw the same demo behind closed doors, but it's played totally different. You can avoid those traps if you see them. You don't have to hit that wire that went across the street if you see it.
Right.
And the world is
dynamic?
The world is dynamic, yeah. So animals aren't always in the same place. So those wolves that he encountered, the behind doors playthrough, some people say they're not there for that. Some people say other stuff is there. Other animals are there for that. Mm-hmm. Different weather conditions. Some people it's raining. Some people it's pretty outside. Some people it's snowing. That game seems to constantly do something different and change it up enough that the experience you have is not the one I'm going to have. And that's encouraging. I thought the swarm of zombies, you didn't see nearly as many in this demo. So they've said the demo from last year is late game stuff, where you see them pouring out onto the roof and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was.
Now you kind of saw small herds of them.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a problem with they shot that gun off and all the zombies went running, but then later on he shot that guy and killed him, and none of the zombies came running back.
Yeah.
So that didn't seem cohesive to me, and that a gunshot can alert them, but then later on they just all ran through there and he shot and killed that guy and nobody cared. Except for that bear thing. That fucking bear with barbed wire wrapped around him.
Yeah, the zombie bear?
Yeah, fuck that thing.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck bears.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider. Rise of Tomb Raider teaches you one thing. Fuck bears.
Fuck bears. I thought we'd see that game too. I thought we'd see the next Tomb Raider.
Oh, the new Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
We'll see. If you should have said so last week, then we'd be tied.
Yeah, that's why I didn't. I want to roll the dice. So yeah, Days Gone's got me concerned, but I hope that game. I hope that Sony just doesn't have to shit that game out to get it out of the way of Last of Us 2.
And to be fair, I understand how Gerald judged, but I would definitely say that Days Gone was much more character-driven trailer than it was a trailer.
I totally disagree, because you saw that open world. That's really what I was saying. Open world.
That's
you
not what
saw
you
that stuff. Yeah, I said open world crafting. Go back.
It was
and
character
listen.
driven. You saw the character. You talked to the character at the beginning.
I said they were going to
He went to take off.
open world.
Take off.
That's not
first.
character development. You just talk.
He went to
somebody.
take off. I said character driven, not character developed. Pay attention, Ryan.
I won that clearly. Plus, you piggyback off mine. I went first on that.
Well, see,
You're
I
like,
didn't-
let me just say the same exact
I don't
thing.
care. It doesn't matter. He didn't grade that way, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you guys basically just tied on that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So-
because I stomped
Because
that
he didn't
ass out
judge
on the
that way.
rest of those.
But if it was just straight up right wrong, I was a lot closer to right than you were.
Totally disagree with that. Not even. It was open world demo.
Well,
You
still
said-
would've lost
Showing
that
off
round.
You
anyway.
said crafting, resource gathering.
Open world stuff. Yeah, that's open world
No,
stuff. I
you didn't-
use the
no.
term open world stuff.
That's not what you... No.
Yeah,
Nice
go back
try.
and
I,
listen
mean,
to it.
I took it as Last of Us, like walking around, crafting stuff.
Go back and
Right,
listen to
so
it.
did I.
That's how I took the comment as.
That's
I mean,
what
I said-
resource gathering is.
Yeah, I say that stuff,
Where
and
you
that's in
pick
there.
stuff up to make stuff.
That's in there. I mean, they're picking stuff up. They're doing stuff. I
didn't
guarantee you
show it.
crafting is a big part of that game.
They didn't
but
show
I
it.
said you're going to focus on the open world.
But
and
you
they
still
did.
won that round. I mean,
You still
Oh, yeah.
won.
Without
So,
that.
Wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. I nailed Sony.
even if Dan got that, if he would have picked it and they were more character based, I mean, clearly they were. He still would have lost that round.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm just saying.
So that was fun. We'll do something different or similar next year. But I like the idea of us kind of bringing picks to the table, and judging them some kind of crazy way.
Well,
Maybe
it turns out this year's E3 was really hard to predict for,
Right. A lot of the ones that I thought you were 100% a lock for were wrong.
and a lot of the ones I thought there was no fucking way were like, what?
Right.
Maybe next year we get the fans involved.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought for
maybe.
sure that Forza and Animal Crossing were 2 guaranteed wins for you.
Yeah,
And, those both were different than expected. Animal Crossing didn't show up at all.
no.
So
I thought for sure Halo was a win for me. I thought for sure Rocket League was a win for me.
Right.
I thought for sure Starfield was a win for me.
I was way more accurate on the third party than I expected to be. I did not. I thought you would either
Yeah.
get the Evil Within 2 or you would see Wolfenstein,
Not
but I had
both
to
of
guess
them?
on both because I didn't know which one would be there.
Yeah.
So that they were both there. I thought was a win. I totally blew it on Devolver. Probably should have done a little more research on their press conference. But when we guessed, I don't think that their information was out there.
No,
just
it
the
wasn't.
start time, right?
It wasn't. None of it was.
But it is
So
the most insane thing that you'll see at E3. It was weird.
it was really odd.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna not do the normal stuff. We're gonna cut it a little short. We ran a little long with the E3 talk, so we're gonna skip the normal stuff. Next week will be a normal episode. Within reason. I think Dan might be absent next week.
I will be absent next week.
Yeah, so we'll figure something out before then. But it'll follow the lines of a normal podcast a lot more. We just wanted to give you some E3 coverage. If we didn't talk about something here that you really want to know our opinions on, hit us up, podcast@gamestitch.com, or on Twitter @game_stitch. I am at Podcast Ryan. Dan is at Shirtless Dan. And Gerald is at Hoffen Show. That's not how he says it, but that's how I say it. And I'm hosting this thing up right now. Right.
Just a couple of cleanup notes on my end here. I have not forgotten that I have to fucking replay fucking Black Tiger. I fucking remember. I'm going to. I don't know. It's kind of like prepping for suicide. I got to write notes and stuff.
And we also will be making an announcement about the next Game Stitch Live. You guys have
Yes.
successfully funded that over at patreon.com/GameStitch.
Yeah.
And we may even tie those two things together if possible. So that Dan can kill two birds with one stone.
Ooh.
And some shape, form, or fashion, we'll be on there. We'll be chatting with you guys. We'll be taking your comments, your questions, your concerns. And we'll probably be playing some sort of games again like we did last month.
Yeah.
We're
We're still working things out.
Right.
Also,
So if you want to...
this week's Patreon shout-outs, like always.
Yep. Now we got some real shout-outs, right?
I have one real shout-out. Garrett never gave us a new one, so I'm going with Wonder Woman as a must-see movie.
I'm changing Garrett's to you need to buy Fortnite
You need to buy Fortnite.
without his permission. I'm changing it to buy Fortnite. Don't wait for the free version.
Buy Fortnite. Don't wait for the free version. That's our good friend Garrett Wade.
Right. Thanks, Garrett.
And Thomas Barfield says, "Heroes get remembered, but legends never die."
Wow, he had like an inspirational one here.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
You remember it?
I remember hearing it. I don't remember.
That was Nintendo something.
Give it to me again.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Yeah, I should know what that's from, but I don't.
You should. You're right.
If you want your shout-out read, all you have to do is support us over on patreon.com/Gamestitch at the $10 tier, and we'll either give you a shout-out, or you can give us something that you want us to say, or I'll just totally fabricate something for you.
Because we've established that that's a thing now.
In your honor, I will give a shout-out for you. If I know you well, if we spent some time, in the
Chatting.
listener/host relationship, then I'll try to make it accurate. If I don't, who knows what I'll say. I might give you a shout-out that's totally not like you, and that's fine too. But for $10 over on patreon.com, you can support us at that tier. And remember, every dollar that we get goes back into this show and other things that we're going to do. We're not just using this money to buy Dan more Mountain Dews and cigarettes, and me more Wendy's.
More bacon eaters.
It's actually going back into the production value of the show and for us to do other things. So thank you for all the support over there.
Yes, thank you.
Gerald, thanks for scoring that, especially the way you did.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah. Remember all that stuff I said about you being a great judge and all that?
Gone.
No, I stand by that.
It was fun. I like doing it this
It was
way.
a good time. Yeah.
We'll do some more stuff like this in the future. Thanks for being on this episode.
Oh, no, thank you guys.
This has been episode 231. Do you have something you were going to say? You want to give a shout out to somebody?
No.
Gerald, you got something?
No.
Somebody started talking.
I was going to say, I was just going to throw out a big Gerald, thank you, blah, 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 We love you, you're a good guy, part of the team, blah, blah, blah.
It seems way...
you fucked it up when you just kept going, so now
it seems way less sincere the way you just did it. I was going to say thank you and a bunch of shit like that.
I'm surprised you guys didn't say anything about how I normally would talk. I kept a lot of references out like I normally
Yeah,
would.
there was no overly sexual
There was one,
references. Yeah, I heard the one.
But for most part, you kept the pleasure in yourself references to a minimum.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought I'd be good this one.
Yeah, it's very professional.
The masturbatory innuendo.
Yeah, it's very professional. So this has been episode 231 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. Remember, you can rate us on iTunes, and it helps us out. Totally free. It takes you about 2 seconds, but head over there, give us 5 stars, and tell us why you think I deserve to win that E3 competition. You can also subscribe to us on probably whatever you listen to. I think every app gives you the ability to do that. I have got some feedback that the podcast is not available at 6 a.m., so I want to clear that up. It posts at 6 a.m. If you subscribe to iTunes, you probably get it at 6 a.m. If you subscribe to another service, it is pulled directly from iTunes. So that means it has to post on iTunes before you'll get it. If you listen on Stitcher is typically very delayed. So Stitcher is usually one of the last things to actually get the podcast, even though it pulls from the same feed. So when we say it posts at 6 a.m., that means at 6 a.m. you can go to Gamestitch.com and listen to the podcast. And if you subscribe on iTunes, you should have it very shortly after that. But there is a little delay. And I'll let everybody know a secret. The podcast actually posts on Sunday on SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunday night, you can always get the podcast early on SoundCloud. We typically only keep 1 to 2 episodes up on SoundCloud because of their limitations. But the podcast is always posted early on SoundCloud if you're just jonesing hard to hear our voice. But that is the one thing that's uploaded manually, and it is uploaded right after it's done being edited. So it's usually a different time, but it's always on Sunday.
That's an insider. See, you know what you should have done? You should have saved that for after the music.
Could have told everybody after, but I want people to know because nobody uses SoundCloud.
That would have been like an end credit scene.
But then we would have had people still not using it.
That's not
So
true.
there's that.
Some people would listen to the end to see.
almost nobody uses SoundCloud. So it's there as an option for you. It's a little more work for us, but we do that. So if you want to get it early, or if that's the easiest way for you to listen, you have the ability to do that. I don't know if we'll always do it earlier, but right now we do it early, and I always have done SoundCloud early. And if you watch on YouTube, then you need to understand you get the podcast late. It's at least a day late with YouTube because of how that works.
Right.
So there are some differences. So I got an email from someone who said, hey, it's not up at Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. And to you, I say, yes, it is, sir. You just have to look in the right place.
You know why? That's because Eastern Standard Time is fucking better.
It's not better, and it's also
bet you
not
it's
central.
up. I bet you it's up everywhere by 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You think so?
I do.
I mean...
Except YouTube.
I would dare say sometimes Stitcher's not up by 6 a.m. Eastern Standard.
I have faith.
No, wait, that's backwards because it's 5 o'clock here.
EST rules. Oh, yeah, it is.
It's not up anywhere.
Yeah. No, I was completely...
It's not up anywhere at 6
Hawaii.
a.m.
Maybe
Yeah,
Hawaii.
maybe. 6 a.m. Central Standard Time is when this thing posts. It is available.
The only one I live in is Eastern. That's the one I give a shit about. The other two, everything else sucks. Stupid.
It is available on Gamestitch.com at 6 a.m. every week. You can listen from there. You can download from there. I know a lot of you don't go to our website. That's cool. But if you do, you can pull the website. You can pull the podcast straight from there and download it to your device. But if you do stream it, subscribing is going to be the earliest way to get it on all these platforms. You get it before it actually posts as a normal file. So thanks for supporting us on however you do that. This has been episode whatever.
231.
231 of these rascals. It was our E3 2017
wrap up
/ winter show for me.
Winter
1
show
point.
for you, yeah.
By
1 point. Yeah,
That's all you need.
You won, it's okay.
It's all you need. This very open world.
I'm not very competitive anyway.
Very open world.
All that
Gone.
crafting that happened. Yeah, shut your
all that
fucking
crafting
mouth.
led me to
Shut your
victory.
fucking mouth.
We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Good night.
Good night.